Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Hey, Primatech peeps. Welcome back to Primatech Styles. I am Lilith, and with me as always is the lovely
Ricky. Hey-o.
So up for discussion today is episode 114, Distractions, a very apropos title for Heroes Finally. Lots to talk about, so let's jump into the synopsis.
Claude helps Peter deal with his distractions. Claire meets her own birth mother. Hero faces his father and sister. Sylar encounters Mrs. Bennett while continuing his quest for Claire's power. Simone and Isaac speculate about their future. Nikki's attempt to control Jessica takes some surprising turns.
Let's see, we meet Kimiko Nakamura, we go to Port Washington Harbor, we learn a little bit about Meredith, and we learn she gives Claire a necklace that gets a few cameos here and there.
Okay.
Those are like the little kind of recurring / running gags that we kind of deal with from here on out. So we pick up the episode where Peter is still working with Claude, learning how to control his powers. Claude sets him up for failure. He's like, yeah, you have to learn how to hold on to an ability when the person isn't around. And so he steals the lady's purse, gives it to Peter, and disappears.
Yep. And Peter's left holding the bag.
Literally.
Yep.
We see Dr. Witherspoon with a chained Nikki to let her speak with Jessica. She's trying some hypnosis to bring her out.
I like the little line that she says after cutting away from Peter, coming to them, and it's the metronome just clicking back and forth, and she's like, it sounds like a bomb ticking. I like those little things, those little nods and winks to like the continuing storyline. But yeah,
she keeps trying to make her bring Jessica out, and so finally the tick tock of the metronome brings out a memory that brings out Jessica, and whoo, she tases that lady.
Yep. Oprah Winfrey look-alike, it's your own fault. You asked
she
for this.
Really did. Meanwhile, back at our paper factory, our paper company, Sylar has gotten the upper hand on Mr. Bennett, and he locks him in a cell, but not before taking his real driver's license. Then we cut to Simone, who's at Isaac's place, asking about Peter's whereabouts.
Oh, we love Simone, don't we? We should rename this podcast
Simone Devereaux's Journal.
Simone Devereaux's Journal, with the foreword done by Janice Parkman.
God. Meanwhile, back in Texas, Claire tells her mom that she and Zach are skipping school to talk to a marine biologist for their manatee paper.
Oh, the manatees. Back again.
However, of course, they're going to Kermit to meet Claire's biological mom. We cut to Port Washington Harbor, which is in Long Island for people who aren't familiar with New York.
Thank you.
Chilling with his father and sister, and his father's like, yo, you gotta come back to Yamagata Industries because, well, our stocks are failing because I can't control my damn son. And he's like, you're supposed to be training to be the CEO. I know you didn't want to be this low-level cubicle jockey, so I'll make you a new executive vice president. I'm like, adopt me, I'll take that. Hero's like, nah.
I do like because I'd never thought that, he was the son of the guy who runs the company. I always thought of Hero as just like some pencil pusher, and yeah. I like the reasoning behind why he is a pencil pusher is because his dad's trying to make him, work from the bottom up. It's quite a noble thing to do. But then why is his sister already like quite high up?
Well, she's the older sister, and she's
I
the
suppose.
smarter one too.
Yeah, just a bit, yeah.
So she probably went to like a more serious college, and he wants both his kids to be there, but obviously because he's his son and it's Japanese culture, it's just
Yeah,
kind of expected.
yeah,
So, but Hero's like, no, I got my own destiny to do.
yeah.
And then this like really ticks his dad off, so he rips off that painting of him fighting the T-Rex.
So angry. Angry face.
Oh, he always had an angry face.
Apart from when he say no my.
Then we cut to Nikki, and then she comes to, and she sees Dr. Witherson is like beaten to hell, and the prison guards are just like beating the crap out of her and dragging her back to her cell. And I'm like, yes, cathartic release.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
No.
There's this one running gag in Arrested Development where people, like, someone's on the run from the police and they stop, and then the police catch up with them, and like two of them will tackle them down, and there'll always be one at the end who'll be there with a nightstick and smacking them in the head. I thought of that when the guards when she's like, take me back to my cell, and the guard turns around and it's the guard saying, I'll be happy to. He just smacks her in the head. It just made me instantly think of that. But yeah, I love that.
The only thing I know about Arrested Development is thanks to Tumblr, and it's that I don't know I was expecting GIF for the dead pigeon and the refrigerator. That's the only thing I know about that show.
You should watch it. It's really good. It's one of those
shows on
shows
the to-do list.
It's one of those shows that, like, with numerous rewatches, you'll notice bits and pieces like that have been touched on throughout the whole series. But yeah.
Then we see Claude. He's like, you can't use your powers. I can't help you. You're stuck in this weird thing. You need to let go. And then he's like, it's a girl, isn't it? And he's like, Simone is different. And Claude's like, no, she's not. Let's go spy on her to prove my point.
Claude and Peter have got really good chemistry, and I think it's because of the difference in how they act. Because obviously, you've got one who's the optimist, one who's the pessimist, one who's like been broken down by the world, and one who can only see good in the world. And you've got Claude who's here just basically, shoving him off building, punching him, getting him to steal and spying on his girlfriend. And you've got Peter every time going like, no, I need my friends, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's the juxtaposition between them, and also it's not even just the juxtaposition on their characters, but just on their looks. Because you've got Claude, who's just this disheveled kind of handsome hobo looking kind of guy, and then you've got Peter, who's like the more classically good looking, I say in quotes, guy with his hair in his face. So yeah, I really like him, and I think that it made the show more fun with Claude around, even though he's such a pessimist, because at this point, like, Hero's kind of doing his own thing, but he's not they're trying to make Hero more serious at this point in time, and they needed something to offset that, and I think that's where Claude came in.
Well, another thing about their specific relationship is that they have the classic bro TP formula, which is dark hair, light haired guy,
Yeah. Okay,
and,
yeah.
the odd couple formula. And like nobody on Heroes really had that up to this point too, which is why it sticks out to me, especially, I guess, because it's like the Merlin and Arthur thing. Like, don't know what that one is, or Dean and Castiel, that whole thing. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, after they decide that, Hero's like, he's like trying to tape the picture together, and his sister's like, you brought shame to our family. That's where we learn about, how bad Yamagata Industries is and all this stuff. And then that was just like a little snippet, and then we get another little snippet of Claire and Zach finding Meredith's trailer. Oh man, what a bummer, dude! Like your biological parents live in a trailer. Like, you like come from this really big suburban, kind of neighborhood in Texas, and your biological mom lives in a trailer.
And I think another line that Zach has at this point is, I always thought your parents would live in like some kind of Manhattan loft, which isn't too far from the truth. But yeah.
It's her uncle, not her dad, but close enough. And then we see Sylar, who has shown up in the Bennett's home posing as a delivery man from Primatech. And like out of nowhere, I literally every time I see this scene, all I can think of is Dharma Initiative.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is Hero's answer to Dharma's initiative because of the jumpsuit. And then he's like, "Yeah, I saved your dog," which is all you have to say to Mama Bennett. And she's like, "Aren't you sweet? Why don't you stay for dinner?" And I'm like, "Okay, it is 2006 Texas. Nobody is inviting a stranger to stay for dinner."
And also, she's already got Zach coming to dinner. There won't be space, but yeah.
But fajitas, who doesn't love fajitas?
True that.
So anyway, Claire and her biological mom kind of have this awkward conversation, and it's kind of clear to see that Meredith is a sketchy chick.
Yeah.
She's been kind of running from, South American country to South American country.
I never actually got that. I just thought that she was like just a bit naive. I really didn't look into that point. I look into the fact that, she's been on the run. But yeah, it's interesting, especially with, what happens at the end of the episode. So
yeah, and she goes, this is where Claire's like, "I gotta do this. I don't know if you're gonna understand, but hopefully you will. I think I know how to survive the fire." And then she cuts her arm, and Kool-Aid comes dripping out.
Because the Kool-Aid packet is on the other side of the knife, isn't it?
I'm really picky about fake blood, and it was awful. But anyway, then her mom holds up her palm, and we see the pyro technique side of her.
So wait, you just said about you're really picky about blood. What do you think of like Charlie's blood? Because it was black, wasn't it?
That was too thick.
Yeah. Okay, no problem.
Like I grew up on horror movies,
Yeah.
like really good horror movies. So like I know like the difference between like hero syrup and actual pig's blood and all that stuff, and so I know the consistency is supposed to be.
Maybe it's just my what I was watching it on, but when the blood rushes down her head or drips down her head, it looks black, right? And
yeah,
that always threw me. But anyway, sorry.
And it's probably the lighting too in the room. So yeah, cut back to Sandra, who's kind of getting suspicious of Sylar. Thank God, because he's being a creeper about Claire.
Yeah.
Like, what is it with dudes always sounding creepy on this show?
I never got it the first time. Like I thought it was just I didn't read too much into his whole dialogue about her, but upon rewatching it, like
her special talents. And I've been to a game, and I'm like, oh God. So she's like, she tries to call, and he knocks the phone out of it, and he's like, Mr. Bennett and the Haitian arrived just in time, and Sylar gets away, and he's like, "Haitian, go kill him."
I know, go heal. No, there's that one little bit where after Sylar's used his powers to push her into the cabinet, and he starts walking towards her, and he says hi, but he has like that weird double Eden voice.
Yeah, they've used it on several occasions, even before he met Eden, and I never really understood why. Did we ever find out why?
I think I read somewhere that the only reason that happened was because it was a cool. They thought it sounded and looked cool. It wasn't a way of him, like to say that he had Eden's power, because obviously we know he didn't. But it was just they added it just for dramatic effect.
I always thought it was just him like being his evil, like almost like kind of a demonic thing.
Yeah,
he was just getting too much power, and he was just totally losing touch with his humanity.
They had that whole religious thing that was originally planned for him, and that maybe that was part of it. But also it's just weird because obviously during the beginning of the episode he puts on this weird accent, and the whole Sylar storyline up to this point, in this episode, it comes across a bit too cartoony for my liking, and it doesn't play him out as a superhero, as a villain. It plays him out as like some kind of James Bond kind of, cat and lap stroking kind of supervillain, palms rubbing, oh, I'm gonna get you next kind of deal. Especially the bit where he's talking to Mr. Muggles about, they just really lost it with Sylar in this episode, but yeah,
and it never recovered in my opinion.
Okay.
He just got to be progressively more whiny and obsessive, and that's just not how I like my villains. But
yes,
when Noah comes in after they realize Sylar gets away, he's like, hey, shit, you gotta erase my wife's memory again. And she's like, again?
I know.
But he could move it. No, shh, honey, shh. Just like, you bastard.
It was like it's like a nice little image though. As bad as it is, it's a nice little image of like, him and his wife holding hands all the while. There's a big black man Yeah, there's this big black man putting his hand on her, and he's, yeah, it's.
It's like, that's how some pornos start, I'm pretty sure.
Did no one ever slash fic Noah and the Haitian? Because I'm sure it must be out somewhere.
I'm sure it has to be, dude. I'm gonna check Archive of Our Own. There has to.
Because there's that line where it's like, who's this guy? And he's like, he's a friend. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah.
That's your friend. But meanwhile, in Kermit, Texas, while all that's going on, Claire asks Meredith about her father, and she's like, that's complicated. But maybe if you come back next time, I have some information for you. And then we find Simone and Isaac on the roof of her father's building, and he's like, dude, this rooftop might be connected to what's happening. Ugh, they have that stupid moment just because Peter's watching.
Yeah, but I don't understand why Pete is getting all angry about it, because nothing much is really said. She's just reaffirming her faith in him at this point, and it's not like they kiss and, make out and stuff. She's actually, like, trying to be a good person at this point, and I don't see how that would make him mope about.
Well, how I took it is that they can't hear. They were just kind of watching, and they were kind of holding hands at sunset on a rooftop. And that rooftop holds a lot of memories for them. I'm sure they probably talked about it or whatever. So it's just like, it was convenient misunderstanding at the right moment.
As per usual.
Yeah, classic. We cut to Hero, who tells his father that he will accept the executive vice president position, but there's going to be a little reorganization of management. And
you loved this, didn't you? You loved it, didn't you?
Kimiko was like, hold up, son. That's not a good idea. He's like, you hush, woman. And then she's like, no, this is what we should do. And Hero's like, yes, sister, tell father what we should do.
Yeah.
I loved it.
All the while, like, stroking his like, non-existent beard.
Hashtag bring the soul patch back.
I never realized that I completely... Like, it's been under my face the whole time. But the Haitian has a soul patch as well. So, the Haitian and Hero are soul patch brothers.
They were.
The soul patch bro TP.
I'm sure
there we go.
I'm sure there's something on Archive of Our Own about that, too. So then we cut to Nikki, who's surprised by a visit from Aaron Mowski, who is, of course, Mr. Lindeman's lawyer. Mowski's like, yeah, you're going home. Charges been dropped. And she's like, what? And I'm like, what? Didn't you just kill that shrink too? Like, I guess the shrink was just beat up really bad, but I thought she was dead.
No, I'm sure that you see her like breathing or like mouthing something at one point.
Okay. I just kind of fast forward through that scene because it's brutal, but like not like brutal, like the violence, just brutal. Brutal and stupidity. But anyway, we cut to Claude hammering away at Peter's little optimistic BS, and so he's like, they're like getting in this shouting match, and he's like, well, guess what? The only thing you need to do at this point is fly, and throws him off the roof. He doesn't fly though, dude. He smashes straight into Mohinder's taxi cab, and
then he has the creepy monologue afterwards. Yeah. About Claire.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's just like, what? And he then all his powers start going weird, and then he sees, okay, this is what it is. He sees the vision of himself exploding. But I swear his hands looked more than ghostly. They looked weird.
No, I don't think so, because I vaguely remember. No, what you're thinking about is he looks down at his hands first, and they start to go invisible. Then he gets the telepathic static in his head. And then we're just zoomed in on his face at this point. And it stays zoomed in on his face. He gets the telepathic backlash. Then his eyes go all Isaac White, and then his eyes open again, and it shows him exploding with his hands being.
There we go.
And that's when he gets punched.
Yeah, it was really funny. Claude knocks him out.
Yeah.
Then we see Isaac painting Peter sitting next to the cab with half of his limbs invisible, and he freaking drops a dime to Noah. And he's like, I think he might be invisible, is why I haven't been able to find him. And he's like, what does that mean? And Mr. Bennett's like, means the old friend isn't quite as dead as we thought. And I'm like, what?
Yep. I know, right?
And then we cut back to Hero's father, who's like, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and give Kimiko everything, and you can come out here and just be stupid.
Yeah.
So they hug. Well, Kimiko and Hiro hug. Ando goes in for the creeper hug, and she's like, "Nah, I'm good. Get the goodbye bow." Then we see Micah, who wants to play Scrabble with his mom, but it's not Nikki, it's Jessica.
Yay.
So then we see Claire and Zach getting home from skipping school, and her mom's like yelling at her about it, and she's like, "But Mom, you said it was okay." And then Claire's like, "Damn it, Dad! The Haitian's been here again." Finally, we see Meredith talking on the phone to presumably her baby's daddy. And when she says Nathan, well, we only know one Nathan, and that's Nathan Petrelli. That's who Claire's biological father is.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I just go, you poor, poor girl. God, everything in your life sucks. So, yeah, that's where we're at the end of episode 114. What would you give this as a grade?
You know what, I'm going to go with a B. I'll go with a B.
Okay.
Just because of Claude, because I think he's probably, at this point in time, he's the best thing about the show. Usually, it used to be Hero, but Hero's kind of lost his way.
He's depowered at the moment.
I think also it's the fact that, you know, that whole storyline of Hero, in this episode anyway, is just dragged out. Like, they could have done that in half the time. So yeah, I think they're kind of misusing him at this moment. But just like the sheer gall of Claude Rains and Christopher Eccleston is good enough for me. Just throwing Peter off a building is good enough for me to give this a B. How about you?
I definitely think this is A- territory. I thought that the twists and turns were great. I thought that the use of the guest stars was great. Everything's coming together. I like this little puzzle that they did. A few more pieces fell into place for me.
No, fair enough. Trivia. I have the license plate of Kato Nakamura is NCC-1701.
USS Enterprise, bitches. Oh, like, people probably don't know. There's probably young kids that don't know, like, George Takei was on the original Star Trek, and the name of the USS Enterprise is the ship that they flew on.
Basically, you know, John Cho, that is...
Yeah, that's who... that's who that's based on.
There is the line, "You threw me off a 30-story building. If I didn't regenerate, I'd be dead."
Doctor Who?
Possibly.
Yeah,
I'd like
that's
to think it is,
stretching
yes.
But regenerate, like, that's classic Doctor.
I think that is all I have.
Oh, wait, no. The story of what happened to Sylar after he was shot by Mr. Bennett is explained in the graphic novel Roadkill.
What's your favorite scene?
I think it's when Claire and Zach come home and her mother's forgetful, and Claire instantly starts looking around. She finds the piece of glass, and then she looks at her dad, and he gives her that smile, and she just livid, dude. And it's like, yes, Claire, take control of your own destiny.
But she's been really good at the whole smiling, then turning around, and then the smile disappears.
Yeah.
She does that in this episode quite a bit. I'm surprised, because my one is personally Peter getting knocked the
Yes, that's my
Claude,
favorite moment. Like, the actual punch, and he just goes down like a bag of bricks. That is my actual favorite moment.
Okay. I think that's my only scene that I truly love in this episode. Yeah. Actually, maybe the reveal at the end. It's quite good. I do have kind of a thing about when because this was done before the trend started to happen, but especially because I used to, or I still kind of do watch like Once Upon a Time, and I don't like the whole kind of extended family tree being like so connected in one show, unless it's about an actual family. But in Once Upon a Time, like, you find out, you know, people are grandfathers, and obviously finding out, you know, that Claire is related to the Petrellis is quite a big thing. But yeah, especially I don't know how long that they had that planned, because some of the acting choices in previous episodes with Claire and Peter are a bit on the nose at this point. It's kind of like watching Star Wars and knowing that.
My favorite line, though, is, "You threw me off a 30-story building. If I didn't regenerate, I'd be dead." He's like, you could have flown. Listen, if you hadn't worked this one out, you'd be hopeless anyway. And I defused the biggest bomb ever. It's like practical, pragmatic. I like you, Claude. Can we keep you? Can we keep you? They could bring him back. He's not doing anything right now. Just saying.
No, I think he is, isn't he? No,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Leftovers is done filming at this point.
Okay.
What else is he doing?
I don't know.
So we have no graphic novels to talk about.
Oh, we do. We've got Roadkill. Why don't you like Roadkill?
Kind of boring, and it's to do with Sylar, so.
No, you're not a fan of Sylar still, even in the graphic novels. Okay, well, basically the synopsis is Sylar's escaped and he's tormented Sandra, and he's gotten away, and it's just him on the run basically, and it ends with him meeting up with another special, and it kind of reboots the whole Sylar having Charlie's powers, I think, at this point. It's an alright novel. It's nothing much. It's just Sylar being Sylar, killing people, putting on, giving himself like really weird names. And yeah, that's basic.
Well, it also kind of touches on Papa Sharash's original map.
Yeah.
And we meet Zane Taylor, and so, this is affirmative. He's using that to find the victims.
What's the map in charge of? It's the list, yeah? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
One the same. What else? Something notable about this one is that we have art by Jason Badauer. Yeah. And the story was by Joe Pokaski. So, yeah, we don't have Micah Goodell or anybody like that we're really familiar with on this one. And then the Easter egg was a picture of Jack Coleman in Sylar's cell.
Oh, your favorite Easter eggs.
Stop being a-holes and give me something good.
All I have for trivia is the name Drew O'Grady is probably from... it's kind of like Mrs. Doubtfire. It's him reading a name off a newspaper and putting the names together. It's the first graphic novel to feature examples of more than 2 powers, because Sylar uses enhanced memory, freezing, and telekinesis. And obviously there's the Zane's powers at the end. You can kind of see it by his mailbox. The Northeast Brewing Company abbreviates to NBC. That is it. The graphic novel lays to rest the popular fan theory that Sylar was unable to take Charlie's ability due to a blood clot in her brain, but
But at the same time,
Yeah.
which is why I really hate season 4, because technically we're in a new timeline because Charlie is saved by here. Like, we need to just erase season 4.
I think they have to keep season 4 because of how it ended, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's about it. So we have no emails, so let's just go straight on to
Shameless plugs.
Oh wait, just as I said it, I have an email.
That is awesome.
Okay, so this is from English Idiot 101, our favorite.
Oh my
Charlie.
god, and it's her.
It's Charlie Rogers. Okay, so it says this is going to be. I've literally just got this. I'm not going to have time to read through this and try and say it properly. So I'm just going to read this word for word. So it might sound weird. Hey, it's Charlie. The Fix was an interesting episode, most of all because we got to meet Claude Rains, played by the amazing Christopher Eccleston. They even got a Doctor Who reference in there with him saying fantastic. I love it. Of course, we had Claire being all forgetful about her dad. I wonder if he realised it. Although, on the whole, this episode was better than the last few. It had a lot more humour to it. Hero and Ando hiding under the car was hilarious. I wish they would move along with the Nikki DL story. It's dragging at this point. I think we can agree with that, can't we, Lilith? Distractions was a better episode for me, not only because we get more Claude, we also get to meet Hero's father, George Takei, FTW. You know what that means. But Claude is amazing, I think, mostly because he's got that British sense about him, which is great. And, it's great watching a Brit. Claire's story is slightly dragging at this point, although we finally got to meet her birth mother, and this is the only episode I think I really actually like Meredith. But then you got Sylar. He managed to fool Hank and Bennett, and then got into the Bennett home. He got really creepy at this point, and from this is coming from a fan of the character. overall, the episodes are starting to get better since it's getting closer to the end of the season. So thank you once again, Charlie. We can always rely on you for an email. Okay, so I'm going to go in shameless plugs mode. Send us your thoughts, episode reviews, or questions about the show or the hosts to primatechfiles@gmail.com. Tell your friends to download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on iTunes. Just search the word Primatech Files. Find us on Stitcher, again, at Primatech Files. Bookmark primatechfiles.libsyn.com. And finally, you can fave Southgate Media Group on SoundCloud. That is all the ways you can find our beautiful podcast. Check out Southgate Media Groups on iTunes. We have loads of podcasts on TV, general pop culture. You can also check out the website southgatemediagroup.com to learn about the hosts, other podcasts, and they have weekly blogs. You can join us. No, you can't. You can follow us on Twitter at Primatech Files. We do we do live tweeting weekly using the hashtag Primatech Files. Just follow our Twitter to find out what episodes we're doing. We've just finished episode 4, and the people who joined us was Mr. D. Foster at Graham F there now. I can't really read it. Don't worry, I'll send you a tweet out when this episode comes out. At the J Christmas, at Lucy Bailey, at Citizen Kyle V, at Miller Hill 101, at English Idiot 101, and at Cyclonic Rage. You can follow us on Tumblr, primatechfiles.tumblr.com. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/primatechfiles. You can find my writings and think pieces / articles at tvbingers.com, Quan magazine.com, and thepeoplesmovies.com. Finally, you can follow me on Twitter at Ricky J Diaz. That's RICKYJDIAZ or Z if you are English. Lilith?
You can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. I am on Tumblr under either lilithfairyhellfire.tumblr.com or superhulockjunkie.tumblr.com. You can, if you like Arrow, or maybe even if you don't like Arrow, but you're begrudgingly watching, you can find my articles about the weekly review for that show over on voiceoftv.com. And for everything else comic book related and pop culture related, you can check out my blog, littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. It is the month of April. I am participating in the A to Z challenge, and I'm writing about movies. So if you are interested in quirky movies, definitely give it a look. So, looks like it's time to get on out of here. So, download the podcast.
Save the world.